Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Rebel Rewind. My name's Christopher. With me, as always, is this guy over here, Eric.
Hello.
Hey,
How's
Eric,
it going, Chris?
half an episode today.
Yeah.
Yeah, taking off early.
Yeah, a little early.
Yeah,
Just been kind of under the weather and some other stuff going on behind the scenes. But yeah.
yeah, all good.
How you doing,
All
Chris?
good.
How you feeling,
Doing
man?
good. Doing good. Excited to talk some Star Wars news.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some unfortunate, one of the stories today about one of George Lucas's projects that would have been nice if would have
I
gotten
know
to
that
see this.
like
But
hearing all the news about that.
yeah.
That's yeah. But I mean, who knows? Maybe Disney will use some of the scripts in some form or fashion, right? So,
Yep.
but yeah, since Eric is exiting the episode early, I thought I'd try and get someone to replace him, but I couldn't find just one person. I had to get two to fill in his spot later in the episode. So we got Lex from the Jedi Lex YouTube channel, and Jimmy from Explore the Force. Both who have been guests on my channel. I don't know if they've been guests on your channel yet, Eric. Have they?
No, I did a what's your Star Wars story, I believe, with you, Lex, or was it I had you on we
did something at one point.
Yeah,
I think it was like a trivia thing, maybe.
Yeah. May 4th.
So, Lex, Jimmy, thanks for coming on. Do you guys want to let people know where they can find you?
Go for it.
Oh, all right. Explore the Force. We're at all things Explore the Force. It's not just me. There's four of us. We got two Brits and two Americans that have teamed up. And all the social medias you can find us. We have a live show on Tuesdays, and then our main show, like our podcast, YouTube, main show comes out on Tuesdays as well. And sometimes Jack's on TikTok live doing things. But yeah, you can find us there. So check us out.
Four people. You guys have expanded now, eh?
Yeah, we have.
Mm-hmm.
We have
Look at
Jedi
that.
and the Mailman, and that's a buddy of mine from back home. He's a day older than me, and we teamed up to do a live show and do all the reviews and stuff like that. So yeah, there's kind of like four of us now that kind of doing the workload.
Nice. Lex, how about yourself?
My channel is Jedi Lex, and I kind of just do everything and all things Star Wars, conventions, collectibles, news, reactions. This Friday, I'll be going to Collective Con, so that'll be cool. Claudia Gray's going to do a panel, so I'll get to kind of go sit for that, and then D. Bradley Baker as well. So
Nice.
Be on the lookout for that stuff. But other than that, just getting ready for Japan and, going with the flow.
Yeah. Celebration's coming up next month. Andor season 2 coming out next month.
Yeah, which is crazy.
20th anniversary coming up.
20th anniversary. Yeah.
You can go see that. It's gonna be a great Star Wars month.
10-year anniversary for The Force Awakens as well.
You think we'll get that in the big screen re-release after 10 years?
No, I doubt it, but it's still an anniversary though, so I can see there being some Force Awakens merch at Celebration, I would imagine.
That'd be cool.
Along with the Revenge of the Sith stuff. So, but yeah,
I gotta say, everybody's background looks awesome. Love you guys' backgrounds.
Thank you.
Awesome. Well, I had to adjust mine so I could keep up with Christopher. It's always looks so good.
I mean, still keeping him constrained to the boxes though. So
yes. Sorry, guys.
Okay. That's okay. I won't judge you for that. What do you guys say we talk about some Star Wars news here?
Yeah, let's knock it out.
Good.
So yeah, the first little bit of news. So a new Phantom Menace Easter egg was revealed by a former ILM employee. So this has been there since it released. Like 26 years later, this former ILM employee kind of just dropped this Easter egg there. So at hour 58 minutes and 17 seconds into the film's runtime, there's a shot of Padme, Captain Panaka, and the Royal Guards running down the hallway in Theed's royal palace, at the top of the archway behind them, there's a bust of a certain man's face. It's too difficult to spot in the regular shot, but it turns out that if you zoom in really close, and then you can just about make out George Lucas's face. So this has been there for 26 years, and nobody's caught this. And now that like it took the former ILM employee to point it out for everyone.
Look,
Like
look here.
right? So it's like, yeah, Clayton, I guess the employee Clayton advises you to use the highest quality copy of the Phantom Menace to actually see it yourself. In her interview, with Clayton, Jeff Green explains that she realized there was space at the top of the archway to add a face, and she instantly thought of George Lucas. And quote said, "I decided to get a picture of George, and I put it on this plaque. I thought, well, that'll be cool. By the time you shrink that down, his face is just a blur. But I mean, you can tell. You can see the mustache and stuff. So it's pretty funny that's been in there.
And one out of the maker,
right?
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty funny. So she put it in and told Scott Squires, one of the visual effects supervisors from the Phantom Menace, who prudently suggested running it by Lucas himself. And she said, quote, I said, "Hey, Scott, look what I did. I put George in the shot, and I magnified it up to 400%. And he says to me, I think we're going to have to get George to approve that." When George Lucas turned up with the huge entourage, apparently he gave possibly the most on-brand response you could imagine. George is really quiet. He looks at it and goes, "Oh, naughty, naughty." I can just picture him saying that in his voice, right? Like, I said, "Yeah, but it's you. It's your face." And then there's silence again, and I'm just sitting there with everybody. And for some reason, I can't describe the feeling, but I knew that I was going to get in trouble. And then George says, "Okay, leave it in." So that's pretty awesome that they did that. But like, if they didn't come out and say that, like, no one would know. Like, what do you guys think about that one? Because like, I think there's been rumors that George had an Easter egg in there for a while.
Yeah, that was very sneaky of them. I mean, I wouldn't have noticed it myself. I mean, we've watched this movie hundreds of times and never noticed it. I don't think anybody's really picked it up, really.
No, I don't think so.
I think it's pretty clever.
Yeah. Hold on, I'm getting some feedback from someone. Hold on. I'm just gonna mute. Yeah, Eric, that's your mic. Hold on. Do you guys hear the buzzing?
Yeah, I was messing with my stuff to see if it was me.
Yeah.
So, this has to be the most obscure Easter egg in all of Star Wars.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, who would have known to do this? Like,
yeah,
this is insane. I mean, it's funny. It's
it
insane.
Is funny.
You couldn't have waited like 3 more years for the 30th anniversary and then drop that,
Right? I know.
So
it's pretty funny. Lex, what do you think of that one?
I think it's an interesting kind of nod. I feel like if you showed me that picture without the article, I still wouldn't pick up that was George Lucas. Like,
yeah,
but I get that they were like trying to nod to him. So now that I know it's George Lucas, I think it's pretty cool. But I would have never picked up on that if it hadn't been like brought to anyone's attention.
Yeah, it's definitely an odd one to put in there, but I mean, it's kind of funny.
It is.
Eric, are you're having some technical difficulties, I guess. So we'll hop into the next story. Eric, I don't know if you want to like hop out and hop back in. Maybe that'll help. Eric's been muted. That's the god saying not to be on this evening. Your opinion doesn't matter.
Oh man.
Okay, yeah. There we go. So yeah, the next little bit of news. I don't know if you guys saw this one. It's the new little droid that they introduced for the Mandalorian Grogu, and they're like the BDX droid, I think is what they're calling this one. So yeah, the Mandalorian and Grogu to introduce BDX droids. New details provided for upcoming Smuggler's Run mission. So during a panel at South by Southwest Film Festival over the weekend, Disney provided more details about the upcoming Mandalorian ride at Galaxy's Edge, and also confirmed the BDX droids that have appeared at Disney parks and will make their big screen debut in The Mandalorian and Grogu. So they also revealed that they will be tuned up by an Anzellan named Otto, which I believe is the one that we see in the trailer, I think. But Lucasfilm also debuted the first look of the droids from the set of the film with the following images. So they're just like a chunkier version of the BD1, right?
Yeah, it looks like it.
Pretty much.
Yeah. But
Kind of
still pretty
Wall-E-
cool that we're getting some new
Wall-E
stuff.
kind of feel to them, don't they?
Yeah, kind of.
For that head and body, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess just like the next model up of the regular BD droid. I'm not too sure. What do you think?
I mean,
Yeah,
it
I mean,
looks pretty similar.
I could see it
Yeah.
being like the next level up, Pretty cute little guys. I wonder how like in this TV show how mobile they'll be, you know what I mean? They look like they would be not super efficient in the real world, but so does BD1 until you start playing video games with them.
Yeah, right. But I mean, I guess they had them on the stage at South by Southwest too. I don't know if there's a clip of that here, because they actually brought them on stage.
My initial thought when I saw those pictures was that they like had come out of like the Fallen Order like Survivor game. So I think it's interesting that you guys brought up that it kind of looked like BD1.
Yeah.
I mean, and the name being BDX, right? So it's just like a next iteration, maybe.
Yeah, extra large version of.
Yeah, there you go.
There we go. Hey, Eric.
Hello.
Hey,
there we go. No buzzing now. What do you think of these droids, Eric?
I took the external mic. Oh, I love these guys. I saw, matter of fact, about 4 or 5 months ago, my sister, I guess she saw it online and she sent me these videos. I fell in love automatically with these little guys. They're like little turkeys, like little waddling turkeys.
Yeah, I can see it.
But see, what I'm thinking is they're probably maybe the before the BD1 character, like maybe, or is it the timeline would be
after? I think the timeline would be after BD1. Okay. So
yeah,
this could be like the next model up from the BD1.
Yeah,
right?
Would it be like BD10, like the BDX? Would that be BD10?
No, maybe it could be.
Oh,
could be.
Yeah,
so there's a few iterations in there in the middle.
Yeah, it very well could be. But Jon Favreau came out on stage alongside Imagineers Leslie Evans and Asa Kalama to talk about the new adventure, saying how special it is for them to be able to tell stories across many different mediums. So one of the cool things about Disney is how we can tell our stories in so many different formats. We're already taking Mando and Grogu from the TV screen to the movie screen, and at the same time Dave Filoni and I are working with Asa to bring the story to the Disney parks too, which I haven't been to the Disney parks yet, like the Galaxy's Edge or anything. Like, that's based in the sequel trilogy timeline, is it not?
Yeah, because you have like Kylo Ren and Rey.
Yeah, so I wonder how they're going to incorporate those stories with that, or if they're going to have like separate parts of the park for Mando and Grogu and stuff like that.
They might just like change it up a little bit. So that it fits.
Yeah, I mean, Smuggler's Run, that's, going under the Falcon or whatever.
Yeah.
I've been to the one in California. That was pretty fun. I've never been to the Orlando one, so I don't know how that setup is. That could be kind of cool, though. It's a little Mando action going on. I mean, might as well capitalize on it, right? The biggest thing in Star Wars right now. So
Yeah.
be silly not to be taking advantage of it.
Yeah. So the article says the mission will be incorporated into the Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run ride and will debut at the same time as in the new feature film, The Mandalorian and Grogu, on May 22nd, 2026. So, like, there's an image of that. So that'd be kind of cool to see, like, Mando and Grogu flying, like, just outside the cockpit. But like I said, at the same time, like it like Galaxy's Edge is supposed to be canon, is it not? That's what I thought.
Yeah, I mean,
Batu is.
Yeah, Batu's canon, right? So
yeah, Black Spire Outpost. I mean, they got books about it, and I mean, it's been in a bunch of. They started kind of forcing it down our throats in the books with like the Thrawn book and things like that. And I believe the High Republic, one of them has it. They're on Batu. I know that's ways before this, but yeah, I think it's canon. I mean, everything Disney does canon, except for Vision.
I would think so. Yeah. I mean, even some of the Visions episodes, you can debate whether they're canon or not, right? But
yeah.
I mean, does this kind of confirm that Mando and Grogu make it into like Grogu would?
That's
I would
what I'm
imagine
wondering.
would be in the like beyond the sequel trilogy timeline, like in the newer movies. But like, does that kind of confirm Mando's in the sequel trilogy timeline, still alive?
Because one of that was what, like 7 or 8 years.
I mean, it kind of what I'm thinking they're doing is kind of what they did with Star Tours and how they kind of like just changed up kind of what you were seeing because it's just it's like an animatronic, so there's like a screen in front of you. So I'm assuming that's all that they're really going to do with Smugglers is kind of just change what you're actually viewing and then kind of like adjust the animatronics to match with that. So I don't know if they're going to try to like incorporate that into like what they already have or if they're just going to like switch up the story altogether so it fits Mando.
Yeah. I guess we'll have to see. But interesting nonetheless. Those droids look cool, so we'll have to see what they're capable of when the movie comes out in a little over a year. But yeah, now
it makes me wonder if they're going to share any screen time, Mando with the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah,
maybe for a brief moment in a movie or something. I have no idea.
I mean, it's because the Mandalorian, like it takes place post Return of the Jedi. But I mean, could Han Solo have lost the Falcon at some point, and Mando interacts with it somewhere down the line? I don't know.
I mean, it's kind of how Force Awakens starts, right? With the Falcon.
Right. He doesn't have it, so at some point he lost it. So, maybe, who knows, right?
Yeah, that'd make Mando really old because, 7 years after Return of the Jedi. What's the difference between Return of the Jedi and Force Awakens? Is like 30 years or is it 20 years? I bought that timeline book. Apparently, I haven't read it well enough.
Either way, he'd still be getting
pretty old.
Getting pretty old. Yeah. He'd be getting the senior discount at all the cantinas, right?
The senior Lorian.
Yeah. But now on to the I don't know, some pretty big news. So George Lucas's scrapped Star Wars TV show reportedly cost $40 million per episode. Now, Jimmy, I know you and like you said, you do your live show every Tuesday there. Did you guys talk about this one on your show yesterday?
We did not, because I had seen all the hype and I was like, well, I didn't really know what it was about. I mean, I kind of assumed it was this Underworld show, and I hadn't read it until this afternoon whenever you told me we were going to cover it. So I'm glad that I'm here because I don't know if I would have read it, to be honest with you, because you just never know what you're getting anymore. And I was like, but yeah, this is pretty interesting and kind of bums me out a little bit.
Yeah. So. So yeah, according to Forbes here, the article goes to say you may have heard about the tragedy of George Lucas, the Wise, where before he ended up selling to Disney, he had it in mind that he was going to make a sprawling Star Wars TV series. Now, of course, we have many of those on Disney Plus, but a new interview with the Young Indie Chronicles podcast with producer Rick McCallum, who produced all the prequel movies. He was involved in doing like a special edition, like when that released. So he worked with Lucas on the series back in the early 2000s. He had just now detailed just how insane this would have been. So these are some of the bullet points that are like the main points from that interview. So the show Star Wars Underworld was supposed to be more quote dark, sexy, and more violent than any other Star Wars production before it.
Mm-hmm.
At that point, keep in mind it was just the 6 Lucas movies, so I know like Star Wars has went a little bit darker with stuff like Andor.
Mm-hmm.
The Bad Batch, you could argue, was a little bit darker. Other than that, I mean, that's as dark as it gets, right? What do you think of a darker, more violent, and sexy Star Wars?
I'd be
Well,
down.
I mean, you know what he says. George Lucas says that Star Wars is for kids, but this would be totally opposite of that. I think.
He's
described here. Yeah. No, I mean it's welcomed. I mean, Star Wars. I mean, the galaxy is huge, man. So there's so many like darker aspects of Star Wars. So then we got some of the darker aspects, like when it comes to the witches of on the Ahsoka show. So some of it, goes a little dark. So I mean, this kind of would go into today's Star Wars, I guess.
Yeah.
Right in.
Right.
This sounds like what we thought Boba Fett might be, and then we got Boba Fett. So
yeah,
I mean, it has its ups and its downs, but like this seems, I don't know, like The Sopranos and Star Wars or something, maybe.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. So apparently there were 60, or there were a full 60 scripts written for the series well before it was potentially going to become a reality. The show was meant to connect to the video game Star Wars 1313, another project that ended up canceled, where Lucas offered it direct, often incredibly tough feedback to implement input about its direction. One day, famously, he said the game should simply star Boba Fett when they were a ways into it already. The most eye-popping aspect of this is that Underworld was reportedly going to cost $40 million per episode. So, what is that? That's like 60 episodes. What, 2.4 billion for the series? For a live-action series?
That's wild.
Yeah.
You think it's
so
cheaper with
20 million
now?
I know, right? So like 20 million per episode more than it is now. Yeah, it's also important to keep in mind that it was the early 2000s to get a sense of Lucas's idea scale here. John Williams was supposed to score the entire series, so an entire 60 episodes, which is nuts. So I mean, I would imagine quite a bit of the budget was for that as well. And then HBO was the only network to even possibly entertaining this, which kind of makes sense because they have a lot of darker shows on there, right? And I guess the weird twist is what this is saying is that Lucas was set to have a meeting with HBO CEO Chris Albrecht at Skywalker Ranch, but a day before, the CEO was arrested for assault, and HBO later forced him to resign. So, like, had that not happened, we could have had like this dark, like, violent Star Wars on TV, and like Disney may not have even touched Star Wars, right? If it was like all violent and sexy and dark, right? So Like what are your guys' thoughts on that? Like what we could have gotten, and I don't know. Like do you think that Disney could maybe use these scripts because they still have the scripts? Do you think they could use them in some way, shape, or fashion? Like, could they do a live action series and keep the 60 scripts and maybe retool them? Because like you would think that, like Jimmy said, like with the volume and stuff, you would think it would be they could do it for cheaper nowadays, maybe. But like what do you think?
Yeah, that budget right there, man, $40 million an episode.
Right?
That's, I mean, just imagine what could have came out of that. But I think that excessively, I mean, that's a lot of money. But I think it would have, I mean, in George Lucas fashion, I mean, with that kind of budget, not even, how much was A New Hope?
Like 25 million? No,
Yeah,
I don't know if it was that high.
I know,
right? It was less than that.
25 million. Then you got 40 million. I mean, and what we got from A New Hope, like,
yeah,
this world is crazy world, right? And then imagine if we would have got this 40 million an episode of this.
an episode. I know
that's hard to comprehend, but yeah, that'd have been amazing, I think. But I think the story was saying what we would have missed. We would have loved to have gotten something like that. I mean, I would have loved to have gotten something like that. But I mean, would they have never gotten their money back?
It's hard to say though, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like recently though, they have been like kind of dipping into like the darker parts of Star Wars, like specifically with like the underworld. Like in a lot of books they talk about it. Even, I mean, I only like just started playing Outlaws, but even then they're kind of dipping into like the underworld and the syndicates and like all that kind of goes into that, like not in a super dark way, but it's like acknowledging that there is this other like grimy part of Star Wars that isn't lightsabers and all that kind of stuff. So
yeah,
I mean, even in like Dark Disciples, they talk about like the underworld of Coruscant. Like there is a lot of talk, I feel like, about the underworld and all that kind of stuff. So I feel like it wouldn't be too out of pocket to do it, but I don't know that there's like a significant interest in it. I think it would be cool, but I don't know that the general public would be like, yeah, let's learn more about like what happens in the underworld of Star Wars.
Yeah, I think you are right. Like they have kind of explored some of the underworld side, like because it's supposed to be based on Coruscant, right? Like the underworld, like the darker side of Coruscant and stuff like that. You get that in Andor. You get some of it in the Mandalorian and stuff as well. The Bad Batch, like they've kind of explored it a little bit, but like not to the full extent that George wanted to. It seems like. But like, what do you think? Like, could they make a 3-season animated series using those scripts and maybe like retooling them?
Well, that'd be good use of the scripts. They said 60 scripts, right?
Yeah, 60 scripts. So that's what, like 20 episodes a season. So three seasons.
Yeah, animation form. That'd be cool.
I feel like it has massive potential though, like because after Andor goes, there's nothing. There can be nothing like it on television, right? I mean, there's nothing Star Warsy like Andor, and it's not for everybody. I know I have friends who didn't like it because they didn't want to watch it with their kids and stuff like that. But Star Wars is for everyone, so why not us old folks who like? I mean, because you got like Game of Thrones, you got all these different like gangster shows and things like that. Like, why not set something like that in Star Wars universe? 300. If you look at Disney's pattern of like 8 episode runs, which drives me crazy, but that'd be $320 million, and I think what Acolyte costs like $250 million to make. If you're getting, and that's if it costs that much now, which I don't know why I think it would cost less. I mean, everything costs more these days, but I think it has massive potential. You tied it to a video game, 1313. Have you guys ever watched that trailer? It's insane, that opening trailer. That they have for that. I think this would be phenomenal. I think this is what people wanted. I mean, for me personally, and with stuff like that, what Boba Fett we thought we were going to get, like a darker,
Yeah.
grittier kind of, you put one of us in a hospital, we put one of you in the grave kind of thing with the clans and things like that. So I think this would be phenomenal. I wouldn't want my, if I had kids, I wouldn't want them to watch it, but yeah, this would be awesome. This would be awesome. I think when I was reading this, I was like, holy crap, like this is insane. And they said they had 60 scripts and then 100 more. Like they had 100 total. 60 of them were complete, ready to go. So they had another 40. So I mean, they had this thing mapped out.
Yeah.
I think this would be huge. And then of course you slap George Lucas's name on it. People are
George Lucas and like John Williams scoring the entire series, and
there's negative Nancy's out there that just want to hate everything that's not George Lucas. Like they couldn't argue about this because it's like, well, this is George approved. So what now?
Yeah.
Right.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
I was bummed reading this. I was like, oh my God, I feel like we missed out big time.
Yeah. I mean, Rick McCallum even said, like, he was quoted saying, I mean, it would have blown up the whole Star Wars universe, and Disney definitely would have never offered to buy Star Wars from George. It's one of the greatest disappointments of our life. So that pretty much sums it up there.
Yeah, for sure.
Like how different would it be, right? How different would things be if the CEO at HBO didn't get arrested, right? And like the day before he was going to meet George Lucas.
Mm-hmm.
It would have been bonkers.
Yeah.
Chris.
Disney Plus, like a Star Wars. Like this would have given George the money he would have needed.
Yeah.
Like kind of bounce back and do the stuff he wanted to do. And maybe he doesn't sell. I mean, I'm not one of those people who's mad that he sold it. Like I'm glad we get more Star Wars, but this would have hit like it sounds it might have hit. People would have been excited. He would have been excited. We would have gotten more Star Wars, and who knows what that would have meant. Like it could have been movie spinoffs, and it sounds like we had video games and comics, and maybe more books and things like that. Could have been a whole thing. It would have just been the Lucasfilm channel.
Yeah. Eric, time for you to leave? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm about to head out. Jimmy, thanks. Lex, awesome. Chris, I'll catch you next week.
All right. Take care, Eric.
All right, y'all take care.
Bye, Eric.
All right.
And then there were 3. Brandon said they called in the A-team for this one. Oh, thank you, Brandon. I mean, I don't think we're the A-team without you, man.
He's busy being a daddy.
He is. He's a bit and creating all that content. I see all the content he's pushing out too. Like he's probably got like the kid strapped to him, like on the back, napping right while he's filming.
That kid's gonna be holding a boom mic before you know it.
Yeah, probably. Right, sitting there.
Come on, Dad.
Yeah, but no, it's crazy that this is what we could have gotten. And where did I see it? I saw somewhere, I think it was on Mike's channel, the guy who loves Star Wars, that one of the director said George Lucas was could possibly be coming back to work on Star Wars in some form, which is interesting because that got, like, he posted that a little while ago. Let's see if I can find it.
I see. I'm looking at the Screen Rant article covering the same stuff. They don't even know if these scripts were sold to Disney or not. Like if it was. So, bummer.
Yeah, there was somewhere like the director, one of the directors or something. Let me see if I can find it real quick before we jump into the next article. Because it's kind of interesting, like the scripts and like these details got leaked around the same time that this other stuff got leaked.
Does it say when it was set? Like, is it after the Return of the Jedi? So it would have been like everyone's like scurrying for power and stuff, or is it like set between one of the films? I didn't see anything when I was reading. Like,
I didn't see anything that said like what time period, but I'm assuming after the originals, because like that's all that existed at this time, right?
Yeah, that's a good point. This would have been. This has been crazy.
Who knows, right? Yeah. Let me see if he posted something the other day, so if I can find it, I'll share my screen here. Okay, here we go. I found it. Let me share my screen here real quick.
Is George Lucas actually coming back to work on Star Wars?
Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm. What's the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure? Stay calm.
In this interview with Roger Christian, who worked on the original trilogy, he claims that behind the scenes, George Lucas is currently working on a Disney Plus Star Wars show. Now, why would he do that? After George Lucas sold Star Wars to Disney in 2012, he became disconnected with the franchise after they didn't use his idea for the sequel trilogy. But one guy has kept him around, and that is Dave Filoni. Dave Filoni is the apprentice to George Lucas, working directly under him for years while they worked on the Clone Wars. So which Star Wars project do you want George Lucas to be working on? Andor Season 2, Ahsoka Season 2, or something completely new? Is George Lucas actually
so that's kind of interesting. Like, what do you say the guy's name
back
was?
to work on Star Wars?
Roger Christensen
okay, it's
or
happening.
something?
Everybody stay calm. What's the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure? Stay calm.
In this interview with Roger Christian, who worked
Roger
on
Christian, right? Like, he posted this like not too long ago on his channel, so it's kind of interesting that it's just interesting that that got posted recently, and so did this other stuff, right? So
I think, yeah, I mean, go with these scripts tied into whenever people, and I think it would be the best thing because, like, people, you know, there's so many content creators out there that just spew hate, and it's not George's Star Wars. Well, how are they going to feel about Disney Plus doing a George Lucas Star Wars that sounds like it might be darker and nastier than anything we've gotten so far? So, I'd be awesome. I mean,
I think it would make a lot of fans happy. Like, it would make the fans that only want George Lucas content, like Star Wars content, they would be happy. But I think it would still keep people who enjoyed the Disney Star Wars happy as well, getting more Star Wars stories. No?
You don't want it, Lex?
I do want it because I love George Lucas and the stuff that he's done. I just think regardless, people are always going to hate. Like, if you bring George Lucas back with Disney, it's going to be a problem. If he doesn't come back, it's going to be a problem. If Disney does something, it's a problem. Yeah. Like, there's just constantly...
There's no pleasing everyone.
Unfortunately. So as much as I would love to see George Lucas come back, like, regardless, his project, if he did come back, is still going to get shit on because people just love to hate, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're 100% correct. I was trying to be positive, but yeah, you're right.
I mean, it would be great to see him come back. Like, I could have only imagined like what the sequel trilogy would have been if they had taken some of his pointers. Like, it probably would have been a lot better, you know, but it sucks that you just can't please anyone. And like, even I feel like the positive stuff that they do put out, like, is still not good enough. So if you do bring him back, I feel like you're still just going to have people that are hating on it regardless. Like, he's the OG. I would love to have him come back and like work on projects because I think it would be awesome. Like, I'm a huge prequels person. Like, that's my thing. I love the stuff that he did with it, and I would love to see him do further stuff, but I kind of get that he passed the torch to Disney, and whether they want to incorporate him or not is iffy, and like even if they do be like, hey, you want to consult, doesn't mean that they have to use his stuff and his ideas. But it's just a tough world out there. I feel like lately you just can't please everyone.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, it's true. Art Deco 78 says hope Disney dusts off these scripts and does the right thing. I mean, we'll see, right? It would be cool to see it in like I said, like in animation form would be cool. At least I wouldn't suspect it would cost 2.4 billion to make an animated series.
I think the animated series are like honestly pretty good. Like I feel like they've come a very long way, and I feel like something like that would make a great animated series. Like I think that would be really cool. But then again, it would be looked down upon because it's an animated series and it's for kids.
In the animation style of like Tales of the Jedi, because like that was really incredible animation.
Yeah, all right, yeah. That'd be cool.
Brandon said that I don't even know how I would feel if we got this Boba Fett story. One of my favorite characters getting that dark grungy show. I think this would be a 10 out of 10. Never too late to get a backstory on Boba. Lex. Many people forget George and the prequels got smashed once upon a time. Yeah, and like I think the same thing's gonna happen with the sequels, right? Because like those kids, like it's been 10 years since Force Awakens. Like those kids are getting older. They're gonna voice their opinions. So, Star Wars nerd says hello there.
People forget about People versus George Lucas documentary.
Yeah.
After the, I can't even watch that. The people are so like ridiculous, and they're like, "You've ruined my life." Like, come on, relax, everybody. We love it, but we gotta take a deep breath.
Crafting on Ilum in the chat. Not emotionally prepared for season 2 of Andor. Yeah, it's
gonna be crazy.
It looks pretty crazy. Yeah, hope you all are doing well. What do you think of Andor from what we've seen so far? Like the first look, the trailer.
I'm fired up, man. I just rewatched season 1. I'm reading The Mask of Fear. I live in the United States, so everything political is crazy now and blowing up, and I can't wait for this. Like I'm a little. The only thing I'm not excited about, and I am excited about it, is getting all 3 at once, because like how, we've been joking on our show about like they didn't think of these content creators. Like, what about us? How are we going to break this all down? And
right.
But I just think it looks phenomenal. I always tell people like watch Andor if you don't like Star Wars, because it's just a movie about revolution set in Star Wars. Like it could be set in, it could be set anywhere, in any TV show, any IP, whatever. Like just boom.
Yeah.
I'm pumped for it. I can't wait. I'm wondering how it'll tie into this new trilogy by Alexander Freed, I think is his name. The Mask of Fear. It's been really good so far. So yeah, I'm excited for it. Looks great.
Yeah. We're basically getting a movie a week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's gonna be nuts.
Yeah. You're gonna drink 5 cups of coffee to do the breakdowns, right?
You go TR just going crazy. All hyped up on Mountain Dew.
Like because like the Andor episodes were what? They were about half an hour to 45 minutes long.
There's a couple that were breaching over 50 minutes. There were a couple that were longer. So
yeah.
And you think they've got to cover all those characters in each movie. Like I'm just calling them a movie. Like so each week, all 4 movies we're getting, they got to cover all those characters. Luthen, Saw, and Andor, and everything else, and whoever. They're going to bring in Ben Mendelsohn, they're bringing Krennic back. Like there's going to have to be long. And we know from the first series that these guys can tell a story, and they're not afraid to tell the story. Like it's okay that there's not action for a half an hour. Like they're telling us the story. So I have a feeling we're about to get the 4 best movies. Like just they're going to be insane. I think. But
yeah, but it's going to go by quick because like it's only 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Every week, that's it.
New movie. Bonkers.
Yeah. So Tony Gilroy, I guess, spoke to Entertainment Weekly. he teases Hellacious season 2 for Mon Mothma. I don't think anybody has a harder road, he said. So she has to do everything that everybody else does with all the tension, fear, and anxiety, and she has to do it in the public, says Gilroy. So Andor is returning with a full-throated rebel yell. The series, which premieres its second season April 22nd with 3 episodes, which is nuts, thrusts viewers back into the heart of the Galactic Rebellion. It picks up back with mercenary thief turned revolutionary Cassian Andor, and fills in the remaining 4 years between the first season of Andor and Rogue One, the Star Wars story, in which Andor leads a team to steal the plans for the Death Star. So it's an awful lot of ground to cover, considering that season 1 took place over only the span of a year, which is like, this is going to be crazy. It's going to, I don't know. It's just, I don't think we're ready for it. So Tony Gilroy, but that's just how creator Tony Gilroy likes it. If time was unlimited and money was unlimited, and we could have done the 5 seasons that we planned on in the beginning, I don't think it would be better at all, he tells Entertainment Weekly. I can't think of a better way to lay it out than what we lucked into, because that idea that it takes a year and 12 episodes for him to evolve into a revolutionary, it really needed all of that room for that. So, but as we go forward, he continues, it's emotionally powerful, it's narratively powerful, it adds to the adventure of the story, it intensifies all the romantic entanglements to have these year-long negative gaps in between, and to land for just a very specific moment. It's 3 or 4 days each time we land. That has the intensification factor on all those things in a way that I never anticipated. I never worked on anything like that. When we brought it into the room, everyone was very suspicious, but it was really exciting to do. It's like cooking a sauce down where you just get down to the root. So it should be interesting. It should be pretty interesting. So for those that have watched the season 2 trailer, many familiar faces pop up, including season 1's major players, Luthen Rael, Mon Mothma, Bix Colleen, and Imperial officers Dade Ramiro and Cyril Karn. But there's also a host of characters from Rogue One, Saw Gerrera, who appeared briefly in season 1, and Orson Krennic, and then K2SO shows up in the trailer as well. Yeah, so I think it goes on. I think he mentions he's teasing other characters that show up. So for those hungry for some intel on what's to come next on the critically acclaimed series, Gilroy teased season 2 for us, discussing Luthen's struggle to control something that has grown beyond him, the weird sexual tension between Dedra and Cyril, which
It's creepy.
I don't know. Yeah, a little bit creepy, right? So I guess I'm going to wrap that up. Mon Mothma, who has risked everything for the rebellion. So Entertainment Weekly, in the trailer for season 2, we see Orson Krennic and Jyn. Are they going to be in season 2, or is that just teasing the run up to Rogue One? Tony said, I'm not going to answer that question fully. We're not really teasers in our show, are we? We don't really tease very much. Everything that we're going to bring in to get to Rogue One is going to be organic. There's nothing that we're bringing in for fun or just because somebody wants to see it. It has to be genuine, or it has to be germane to the story. So he didn't deny that Jin's not going to be in it, but he hasn't confirmed it yet. So, do you think Jyn could show up?
Yeah, why not?
It'd be easy to get a young Jyn in there, wouldn't it?
I mean, So that's what I was talking to Patrick
Felicity
yesterday.
Jones is showing up. I don't think Felicity Jones.
No, but she wouldn't. She wouldn't be young though at this point, though. She'd be about the same age as Andor, right?
I mean, well, no, because she's much younger than Andor, right? Isn't she? Because she was how old when he got rid of her? Like 15 or 16? I mean, yeah, that timeline is blurry at best, right? We don't know exactly when he dropped her off and stuff like that. But I mean, there could be, I guess maybe, I don't know. I'm trying to think of, I mean, only 4 years, so she probably would be. No, yeah, I guess
she'd be older, right?
That might not line up.
She's about 24 in Rogue One.
In Rogue One? Yeah, so she'd still be like 20, right?
Yeah, so that probably won't line up. So I'm
gonna
say no.
I don't know if you would see her at all. If it would make sense to see her.
No.
I
retract my statement.
Yeah.
And Cassian was about 33 in Rogue One.
Okay. Mike the Mailman says LOL. Hey, Mike.
Is that Mike?
Jimmy's co-host.
Yeah.
We did see a bit of Saw Gerrera in season 1. Will we have an expanded role in season 2? Tony says yes. I'll say yes.
Yes.
So I mean, and we did see him in the trailer, making a bit of a speech to I don't know what character that was facing him. With Cyril and Dedra, audiences really responded to that strange sexual tension between them. Can you tell us anything about where that might go? And Gilroy said, I responded to that too. I don't want to spoil anything, but they're unresolved when we leave them in Ferrix, aren't they? Is that goodbye? I doubt it. Why would I leave two fascinating characters like that behind? There's a lot of varieties of romance in the second season because it's over 5 years. People are going to do what they do. It's also just fascinating, not just to the varieties of romance or the varieties of love or varieties of relationships, but then what does this incoming tsunami of revolution and war do to people's relationships? So Marva clearly casts a long shadow from beyond the grave in the season 1 finale. How much of her memory loom large in this season, or how much will her memory loom large in the season? So Gilroy said she's always with him. Ferrix will always be. Well, Ferrix is always with Bix, Willman, Cassian, and Brasso. It's with them all the time. Marva carries forward as a fundamental piece of who he is and what he's become. So I mean that makes sense. They go on to talk about K2SO, and they said fans are excited to see K2SO back in action in the trailer. And Tony Gilroy said, I fully know how long you've waited for this. I know how long you've waited. I have my reasons for doing it, though. They were really good narrative reasons, and I know that everybody's been waiting, so we've done our best to make the most of it. I hope it passes muster. They go on to talk about Mon Mothma a bit here as well. Luthen's rebellion and stuff like that. But I think there was somewhere where he teased another character as well.
That Imperial guy that like marches.
I think so. See if I can find it here.
I think they're doing a live feed tomorrow too. Sometime I'm not sure when. Like Tony Gilroy's on like it's either Disney or somebody. Like they're taking people's questions and stuff. I've seen on social media. So maybe something new pops up tomorrow as well. I'm gonna try to find that. I don't know. I might be working. Who knows?
Yeah.
I think there's a live feed with him.
That's it's a pretty interesting read about the characters and where we find them in season 2. And I thought there was a bit where he teased a character in here. This article. But I don't know. Like, what do you think? Because like I said, like he didn't deny Juno showing up. I don't think she'll show up, but like we could see other characters show up, like her father, Galen Erso could show up, and that would make sense.
That would make sense, yeah. Because he'd be in captivity, right? He'd be held captive.
You would think so. You would think so at the time, right? And you could see Bodhi Rook show up, possibly.
He's coming to Celebration, Galen. Mads Mikkelsen's coming to Celebration, so maybe there's a reason, for that, because he's going to pop back up on there. Him and his wife Lyra, right? It's Lyra, isn't it? his wife.
Lyra would be dead. Lyra would be dead.
Oh yeah. Sheesh, yeah. My goodness, yeah. Man, I need to watch Rogue One again. Dang. All right.
Yeah. So she won't be showing up anytime soon. Maybe in a flashback.
Poor Lyra.
I don't know. Like, what do you guys think? Do you think there's any other characters that could show up?
I feel like I gotta rewatch season 1 and Rogue One again to maybe have like a better grasp of what's going on. Because honestly, I've kind of forgot about some of the things that have happened. So I think I need like a good refresher before going into it.
And I'll plug Brandon's channel too, Clan Brand Warren, because he did a video where he was mentioning some cameos that could show up, and he mentioned like the Ghost Crew, because I mean that you do see Chopper in Rogue One, right?
Yeah, I feel like
could Hera show up at some point, because like she's part of the rebellion at this point, I think.
Yeah, I was thinking about them, and I was wondering, like, does Ahsoka Hera fit Andor tone? Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it doesn't feel like it. I mean, yes, they should be there, and we get that General Syndulla comment, you know, in Rogue One, and get to see Chopper.
Yeah,
but and I love.
I don't think the aesthetic
does it blend together? I don't know. Does that make sense? Like, I'd love to see her in it, but I don't feel like that character that we saw in Ahsoka fits in this gritty Andor world for some reason.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Like, it hypothetically makes sense, but I don't think that like the tones, like the characters go together. And I think I did see someone post something about like maybe like the grown-up Omega like makes her way into it. And I was like, I kind of have similar thoughts to that too, unless they make her like a little bit more rigid, then she could maybe fit that kind of plot and theme. But I feel like from the Omega we've seen in Bad Batch, she also wouldn't fit that like rigid mold.
Well, yeah. It's weird how they would match up. Like, they're all together, but they, you know, these different stories with different tones. Like, it is weird that we're like, well, would it work? So, because in Andor they don't have a lot of. I'm trying to think of cameos, and I can't really think of any that, you know, getting. Gosh, why can't I think of it? On program guy can't swim. The guy who can't swim. Like, does he show back up? Is that a cameo? Yeah. I that too, but Thrawn would be there because he'd be fighting with Krennic right now, trying to get money from Krennic for his programs, trying to save the Chiss Ascendancy from the Death Star.
Could we see Tarkin? Could we see Palpatine? There's we saw a shot of the Senate.
Yeah.
Or I guess now the I don't know what it wouldn't be the Senate anymore, would it? I guess it would be. I guess it would still be considered the Senate, but like you saw the shot of that, so like he could be in it. Could we see Vader? I doubt we're going to see Vader in this. I really hope we don't see Vader.
Trying to think of people from like A New Hope that would work. Bail Organa.
Yeah,
he
Bail
could slide
Organa,
into
right?
that.
He would
definitely fit the tone, I think. I mean, he was kind of gritty in Rogue One. Like, it's weird, again, that how these tones play out, because you got the same actor playing him in Rogue One, and he seems tougher and meaner, and then you got him playing Leia's dad in Kenobi, and he seems like a big softy, you know? So, I mean, maybe Bail Organa, you know, you get him come in, because he's a big, you know, he's an integral part in getting Kenobi and stuff. So I just don't know. I feel like Tony Gilroy wants to do it with his characters, you know, like he doesn't want to rely on anything like he did in the first season. And, you know, he's been on the record saying he doesn't like Star Wars. And he's already said, like, when this is over, I'm done. Like, you know, I did it because I can. They paid me a lot of money or something, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. As far as cameos, that's a tough one, man. Cause I didn't even think about it, you know, things not matching up. And of course I some reason I thought Jyn maybe. But then, you guys were right. Like, she's 20 years old at this point. So it had to be Felicity Jones.
I doubt. Yeah, I doubt.
Not going to get her
that
back,
she would
are
show
they?
No, I don't think so. Another thing he confirmed in another article, though, which I think is pretty awesome. He confirms plan to explore the Gorman massacre. So this was another article with comic book movie. So it's already been confirmed that we will end where the 2016 movie began, Rogue One. So we'll get to see K2SO and stuff like that. Let me see if I can find the part with the Garmin massacre, because he he said, I think this is bits taken from the Entertainment Weekly article as well. So at best, we'd imagine footage from Rogue One will be recycled. It doesn't make much sense for Jyn to play a role beyond that, but Gilroy may have figured out a way to expand her story here too. Recent trailer for Andor also confirmed that we are heading to Gorman, the location of the Gorman massacre. Only bits and pieces have been revealed about what happened there through what we know in Mon Mothma's discussion to publicly blame Emperor Palpatine for what led her to becoming a fugitive. In a separate conversation with Collider, Gilroy confirmed that he intends to explore what happened on the planet in great detail. So he said Mon Mothma leaving the Senate is canonical. There are a couple other events in here. The development of Yavin is canonical, obviously. The discovery of the Death Star and whatever intelligence there is, espionage that leads to the beginning of Rogue One is canonical. I had to get all of those things. Garmon, interestingly, is canonical, but completely undescribed. It's a total blank slate. Gilroy continued. There's also a bit of confusion about the Gorman massacre. And what is the Gorman massacre? There's a lot of confusion within canon. So it was an opportunity to rebuild in a really significant way. It's a very significant part of our show that can do a lot of different things for us. Quite honestly, it's very expansive to build, so we really want to use it as much as possible so it carries over 5 different episodes. I'm really confident that the really deep, passionate Star Wars community will appreciate how we've straightened out the story. So I think that part's pretty interesting because we've heard about this and never really, like he said, it's a lot of confusion around it. Like, what are your thoughts on that?
I always thought Gormans were aliens for some reason. Like, I don't know why. In my head, when they talked about the Gorman massacre, I always just felt like it was like this alien race that they wiped out. So I'm completely like, because everyone's saying like all those scenes we've seen is on the planet, as on Gorman or whatever. So at first I've got to adjust my, I don't know why I thought that. Like, I just assumed it was some kind of like creatures that they wiped out on a planet, like we've seen before. But I think it's awesome. Mm-hmm. Like, this is gonna be great. I mean, I'm not great for the Gormans, obviously, but for the show and the movie, and push the
and to explore that, right?
Because isn't that what drives her? The Rebels picking her up in Rebels, the one season, like she runs from them, and then she announces that, and then she has to take off running, and then the Rebels transport her in that one episode. So like you're tying it right into Rebels and stuff like that. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Maybe we see her getting on the Ghost at the end, just hopping on the Ghost and take
right.
Cool, right?
That could be cool.
So, and you would think if you see the Ghost, you would see some of the Ghost crew.
Yeah, possibly.
They don't need to say anything.
No, it's true.
They can just be like at end of the series, and she gets on the Ghost.
Do you guys remember what season that was in? Is that like second or third season that they save? I haven't watched. I just started rewatching Rebels.
It's been a while.
Yeah,
I can't pinpoint it.
Yeah, so. Yeah, I think it has tons of potential. Like, I think all Star Wars has potential. It's just how they, but Tony Gilroy's delivered. So, and I will say that, like, watching season 1 back, able to binge through it was so much better too.
Yeah.
So much better.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is going to be great. I can't wait. I'm hoping we get to see some of it, like when we're at Celebration. Maybe they show us like one of the nights or something. We get to go back, and because sometimes they'll do that. They did it with Kenobi, where you got the people who got into the Kenobi panel, got to go and they got to watch the first 2 episodes with Ewan McGregor and some of the people. So maybe we get that as celebration because it was only a couple of days prior to it releasing. So
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Guess we'll have to wait.
They'll show you the first 3 episodes.
That's what I was kind of assuming they were gonna do, but I don't know. The Andor panel also happens to be on the same day that the Ahsoka panel is, so I think I'm leaning more towards the Ahsoka panel, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm kind of tough one because what are they going to show us for Ahsoka, and then Andor is right around the corner, so it's like, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think this is going to be great.
You can wait the extra few days, right, to see the Andor series. What if you get a sneak peek at Ahsoka season 2, right?
Oof, that'd be nuts.
That was my thought.
Right?
Watch Andor when I get home.
Exactly. You can watch it. It's going to be there. It's going to be there. So, yeah. Either way, it's shaping up to be a good second season. So
it is.
I'm excited for it. You guys are both excited for it. But yeah, I think that does it for this episode of Rebel Rewind. Lex, Jimmy, thank you for hopping on and kind of filling Eric's spot for the second half of the episode today. It's always fun to get some other people's opinion on some of the Star Wars news that's happening. Do you guys want to let people know where they can find you one more time, in case they're not already following you guys?
Sure. My channel is Jedi Lex. Kind of just do everything, all things Star Wars, collectibles, conventions, news, reactions, rumors, trying to get back into the swing of things, and just preparing for Japan. I'm going to try to put out a lot of content for that and my trip, so I think that'll be pretty big for the channel, so definitely stay tuned if you're interested for that, but that's where you can find me, Jedi Lex.
Yeah, I will be photobombing all of Lex's content and sell it at Japan. So look for me in the background of Jedi Lex's videos, but going like, but Explore the Force. Jack and I will be there covering everything too with Lex. And like I said, you can find us on all social platforms, everything like that. We got a bunch of different shows. We got lots of content you can go back through. And man, it's good to hang out with you two again. It feels like it's been forever. So Christopher, I want to say thanks for the invite. Lex, it's great to see you again. And I'm looking forward to Japan even more now because we get to photobomb your content. I'm pretty excited about that.
Yes, excited to see you, and thank you, Chris, for having us on. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you both coming on, and thanks everyone in the chat for watching, and I will see everyone next week in the next episode.